In industry, safety tags are visual warning devices attached to equipment, machinery, or hazardous areas to communicate potential dangers, specific instructions, or the status of the equipment. They serve as a crucial part of workplace safety programs, providing immediate and easily understandable information to employees and visitors. Unlike safety signs, which are often more permanent, safety tags are typically temporary and used until a hazard is eliminated or a specific condition changes. Here's a breakdown of their importance and types. Hazard communication. They clearly identify existing or potential hazards that might not be immediately obvious. Accident prevention. By highlighting dangers and necessary precautions, they help prevent accidents, injuries, and illnesses. Equipment status. They can indicate if equipment is out of service, under repair, or safe to use after inspection. Temporary warnings. They are useful for temporary hazards or situations, providing warnings until a permanent solution is in place. Alright, so it's really important to reinforce safety procedures at the workplace. We always remind workers about the specific safety instructions related to any tagged equipment or area. And compliance is key, especially since in many regions, including places like North Lakhimpur in Assam, India, using safety tags is actually required under occupational safety and health regulations. Now, let's talk about danger tags, which are often red in color. These are used to indicate immediate and serious hazards that could lead to severe injury or even death if they're not avoided. For example, you'll see them attached to machinery that's locked out for maintenance with a "Do Not Operate" sign, or on high-voltage electrical equipment, or even in areas where there's a risk of imminent collapse. Moving on, caution tags. These are usually yellow. They're meant to warn people about potential hazards or unsafe practices that could result in minor to moderate injury. For instance, you might find them marking wet floors, indicating the presence of moving equipment, or highlighting temporary obstacles, just to keep everyone a bit more alert. So, let's talk about warning tags, which are often orange in color. These tags are used to indicate hazards that fall somewhere between danger and caution in terms of severity. Basically, they signal a potential risk of serious injury or even death. For example, you might see these tags used for chemical hazards, confined space entry warnings, or areas with potentially dangerous machinery. Out-of-service tags are used to show that equipment shouldn't be used because it's either malfunctioning, under repair, or undergoing maintenance. You'll usually find these tags attached to broken machinery, equipment that's waiting to be fixed, or items that have failed inspection. Do Not Operate tags, which are often red or have a specific design, are used to strictly prohibit the operation of certain equipment. These are especially important during lockout or tagout procedures, to prevent accidental startup while maintenance is going on. For instance, you might see these tags on circuit breakers being worked on, valves that shouldn't be turned, or machinery that's currently under repair. So, inspection tags are used to record and communicate the status of equipment inspections, indicating when the last inspection occurred and whether the equipment is safe to use. For example, you'll find these tags attached to fire extinguishers, ladders, scaffolding, and lifting equipment after they've been inspected. Lockout, Tagout, or LOTO tags are used in conjunction with lockout devices to make sure hazardous energy sources are isolated and can't be accidentally reactivated during maintenance or servicing. These tags usually include the name of the person who applied the lock and tag, just to keep things clear and safe. Confined space tags are used to identify confined spaces, and they often include information about entry permits, potential hazards within the space, and which personnel are authorized. For example, you'll see these tags attached to entry points of tanks, vessels, or pits. Barricade tags are, used with barricades to provide information about why an area is restricted, who authorized the restriction, and when it will be lifted. For example, you'll find these tags attached to tapes or barriers around construction zones or areas with temporary hazards. Material status tags are meant to indicate the status of materials, such as hold rejected or approved. It's a simple but really important way to keep everyone informed about what can and can't be used. Alright, so when it comes to using safety tags, there are a couple of key things to keep in mind. First up is visibility. Tags should be easily visible and legible from a safe distance, so that everyone can notice them without getting too close. And then, durability is important too. They should be made of materials that can withstand the environmental conditions of the workplace, like, for example, water resistance or UV resistance. Now, let's talk about attachment and clarity. Tags must be securely attached to prevent accidental removal. That's really crucial. Also, the message on the tag should be clear, concise, and easy to understand, ideally using both text and symbols so that, there's no confusion. Another thing to consider is standardization. Where possible, you should use standardized colors and formats for different types of tags, so everyone in the workplace understands them in the same way. And of course, training is essential. Employees must be trained on the meaning of different safety tags and the procedures for respecting them. Finally, always make sure to adhere to local and national safety regulations regarding the use and specifications of safety tags. In North Lakhimpur, Assam, India, this would likely fall under the purview of Indian labor laws and safety standards. By implementing a clear and effective safety tag system, industries in North Lakhimpur and elsewhere can, really enhance workplace safety and reduce the risk of accidents and injuries.